3-1 leads just aren't what they used to be. After only 36 of the 300 teams to ever go down 3-1 being able to force a Game 7, we've now had 2 teams do it in the East in round 1 alone. While only 13 of them have ever come back to win the series, both the Pistons and Sixers look to be in great positions to complete the comeback, as much as it does pain me to say that as a Celtics fan. Last night, the Pistons only got back into the game because of a historically awful scoring performance from the Magic, where they missed 23 straight shots and only made their first bucket of the fourth nearly 10 minutes into the quarter, on top of only totaling 19 points over the entire second half, which is how many points Cade scored in the fourth quarter alone. But that is the way it goes sometimes, and this was one of the funniest games I've ever watched, with Orlando literally having nothing drop and watching their double-digit lead slowly evaporate because the Pistons weren't even scoring at a high level either. It just would have been literally impossible to lose to the Magic after they dropped 19 points in the entire second half. Yeah, the Magic somehow lost this one by 19. I don't see how they could possibly bounce back in Game 7, so this is at least one 3-1 comeback that should end up being completed. While I would usually say that a big part of the devaluation of the 3-1 lead is due to the three-point revolution introducing a lot more variance to the game, with teams either having hot or cold shooting games to start or end the series, really making it possible for these kinds of momentum changes that seem to come out of nowhere. The fact is that the series that were 3-1 and are now heading to 7 have had a very different feel to them. Any series with Boston is obviously going to feature the long ball very heavily, and it certainly has, but the Pistons and Magic both are not very proficient shooting teams, and so it's not nearly as integral a part of their offensive approach as most other teams in the league, which absolutely proves that it's not just a matter of three-point shooting, turning a 3-1 lead from a sure thing to little more than a glorified safety cushion. It could also certainly be said that both of these series have not been your typical 3-1 leads. The Magic were not expected to be leading 3-1 over the 1-seed Pistons. Pistons looked awful throughout those first 4 games and haven't honestly looked all that much better over games 5 and 6, but the Magic have just somehow looked even worse. And then obviously with the Celtics, Embiid didn't play in those initial few games, and so once he did finally come back, it really did change the series. They've dominated these last 2 games with him back in the lineup. If he'd been playing all series long, it does seem unlikely that it ever would have become a 3-1 series lead, but the fact of the matter, they both were 3-1, and they have now blown it. Both teams are now heading to a Game 7, so it is interesting that in today's NBA landscape, the 3-1 lead seems to be worth less and less. I am honestly surprised that both of these series have gone to 7, quite honestly, and in the case of the Pistons Magic series, it did quite literally take one of the all-time bad scoring halves to make it happen, but regardless of how it came about, the outcome is the same, and that's that in the modern NBA, you cannot feel safe in a series until the second you get that 4th win, because leaving even the smallest shred of hope alive for your opponent can be a very dangerous thing.
Consecutive times, the number 1 seed Pistons have come back to win. Now Game 7's